we got to be sound. We got to be sound in our alignments, in our fundamentals. Pick and choose our times when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive, and just play great situational football.
How does this Iowa State team maybe compare to some other teams you face schematically that helps you guys prepare for this?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why they're in the championship game and why they've weathered the storm, of the season. And they've had some injuries and they've been able to stay consistent throughout. And it's a testament to the culture there. I believe it's Campbell's eighth or ninth year there, and the depth that they have and how they develop their players. So they're just very, very consistent in everything they do. They have a plan. It's a very it's an offense that is very a system-oriented offense, and they do what they do, but they do it in different ways. That's meant to confuse the defense in the eyes of of individual players. They attack the edges really, really well with different types of schemes and blocks, and they just do a great job. They have a plan for every defense that they see, and you can see, like, if it's a quarters defense or a single high defense or a pressure or a 3-4 or a 4 down, like they have specific ways of attacking those defenses. So we got to be prepared. It's going to come down to us executing as well or better than them on Saturday.
What are your thoughts on the quarterback?
He just makes plays, has a lot of moxie. He is maybe not what everybody else is looking for, but the guy's a winner in terms of how his recruiting went. Coming out of high school, but the dude was a winner in high school. The guy's a winner at Iowa State. He's super productive. He knows where to put the football. He trusts in his receivers. He throws guys open. He anticipates guys in their routes and where they're going to be open. He sees coverage really well. So we're going to have our hands full. He's just very, very efficient, and he's not unlike in terms of efficiency wise some of the quarterbacks that we faced last year when the Pac-12 was so loaded with those effective quarterbacks. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep him contained. He can hurt you with his runs. He's a scramble to run guy, and some of his most explosive runs this year have been just stepping up in the pocket and taking off. So. I think he's a pretty special player.
What excites you about this recruiting class on the defensive side that you signed today?
Yeah, just the fact that we had a full year and a half, actually 2 years, almost full 2 years to evaluate these guys, see them grow from their sophomore film and their junior film, and see where they've grown to today, and being excited about that class. And this class is the class that we actually had to beat other people recruiting, that a lot of other good coaches in our conference and in other Power 4 conferences saw the same thing in some of these players that we saw. So there's very few guys that we didn't have to beat other schools on in terms of Arizona State showing what we can do for them developmentally, academically, education, athletically, for quality of life and all those things, and had to compare it versus other schools. We had to really work to get this class, and anytime you got to do that, it's a byproduct of you're going after some pretty special players. So really excited about this class, and excited for those guys to get to work.
A lot of the talk this week has been about Jordan's injury on the offensive side. But on the defensive side, you guys are almost fully healthy. How fortunate is it to have kind of your full squad going to a Big 12 championship game?
Yeah, we got guys that that they're feeling the wear of a 12-game season too, but they don't have anything that's kept them out. But we have some guys that maybe aren't completely full speed. So one of the things the testament that we have to the depth of our defense is we're able to get guys on the field and give them more reps. And some of those guys that are a little banged up, less reps, and so we can make sure that they're 100% when they're getting snaps on the field. So that's just a testament to the recruiting and building this program the way that the way our head coach had envisioned, and the way that we're working towards that every day.
Coach, you talk recruiting. There's always challenges with recruiting, but do you feel that as the year went on, as you had more success, maybe some of those challenges were reduced to some extent?
When you're going after good players, it doesn't get easier. It never does, because there's other good programs out there, and we're well aware of that, and that are always going to be going after these guys, and some by the letter of the law, and others in the gray areas, and we just if we ever get comfortable in recruiting, then that's when we get behind. So our mentality is each day attack it, and and really try to evaluate and get the best players that fit our systems and fit ASU.
Coach, you and Kenny have talked about how the second half has been important to improve on, considering what has happened in the last couple of weeks, but particularly last week, being able to come out and really only allow a touchdown really the entire game. What would you necessarily say the effort that your defense put out there in the second half, and how important that's going to be, the second half consistency going into a week like this?
You know, I mean, it's you know, again, whenever you're playing really good, you highlight, you know, the things that you can get better at, you know, and it's funny, nobody's said anything about the last 3 weeks. The first half, combined 6 quarters, we've given up 3 points. You know, no one said anything about that. You know what I mean? So everybody focuses on stuff we can get better at, which is fine. You know what I mean? Because as coaches, we're very reflective, you know, of those things. And, you know, I mean, that touchdown drive we gave up in the second half to Arizona was on me. You know what I mean? Like, well, I didn't call a great drive. And I just know when we put our guys in the right position to be successful and to make plays, that they really have responded all year. And this is no different this week. And, you know, we don't go out to, you know, hey, we're going to try new things in the second half, and usually we just try to work the same plan that we tried in the first half. And when you're ahead, you don't make the adjustments because your calls are working. When they're not working, then you get to your adjustments. And so yeah, it's an ongoing process, and it's something we got to continue to be strategic in how we attack it. And you know, sometimes we're ahead of things and sometimes we're behind, but the key is being able to get back on track. And we've overall done that job all year, and hopefully we can continue that on Saturday.
Coach, is there a concern about guys getting overhyped for this kind of an atmosphere Saturday in that stadium and you're playing?
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, again, this is a first for a lot of us. It's been 9 years since I've been in a championship game like this too. So we know what's at stake. I think our guys know what's at stake, and after all the work that they put in, I think they're going to be excited. They're going to be charged up, but it's ultimately the team's going to be able to be consistent throughout those 4 quarters that's going to ultimately end up on top, and hopefully it's us.
What's it like having guys?
And Noel present as like the other side of a very physical offensive approach?
Yeah, I mean, they're dynamic. They make big plays. They both have over 1,000 yards receiving. They're always a threat on any down to score. I think they're both potential NFL guys, and you know, anytime you got 2 of them, it's hard to double one. It's hard to double both, and it's impossible to double both. You know what I mean? And you know, that's something you just can't do because these guys will run the football on you. So we're going to have to be strategic in how we do it, and when we got opportunities, and we got to win our one-on-ones.
What's it like having guys like X back there in the second, Shamari, and X back there in the secondary patrolling things?
Yeah, just consistency in their approach, consistency in their demeanors, just consistency in really everything they do and how they live their lives. So we've been blessed to be able to have those guys here, and those guys are leaders, and they're different types of leaders. But those guys just really care about getting better, and their habits are a reflection of that.
Basically, a ton of elite quarterbacks last year in the Pac-12. How has that kind of shaped you and helped you adapt as a play caller, as well as just the team of members who were here last year to be able to be prepared for elite quarterback play? Yeah,
I mean, it's something that, you know, it's you just never want one phase to beat you. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to have answers to whatever phase and whatever problems an offense gives you. And, you know, the sooner you have to get to those answers, it's not a good thing, because after you use those answers up, there's only so much time to prepare and practice during the week. So that's what we've been so good at in terms of, and that's what our head coach and his philosophy has been so good with, is just playing complementary football and giving us opportunities to make adjustments and to adapt to what offenses are doing, and to allow us, you know, as play callers, to be able to get into the right calls to hopefully, you know, stop the bleeding or get into, you know, situations where we can get offenses off the field. So, you know, all those things play hand in hand with that, and yeah, I mean, this weekend's going to be no different.
You talked about how it's always a process in terms of getting better, but do you feel like this defense is kind of peaking heading into this championship game?
Man, that's a great question. I mean, the way I look at it, and I mean, there's always things we can get better at. I think that's more of when you look back at the end of the season, you look back on the season, you go, okay, we're playing really good defense, because every week brings new opportunities for our opponents and presents new challenges for us. So anytime we start to think that we're reaching our potential, we got to strive and strain to get better. And if we do, then we're getting comfortable, and then we're taking the process lightly. And so we're just trying to focus on the process, trying to get better today, and hopefully continue to get better tomorrow. And by the time we get to Saturday, we're playing and we're ready to go.
Coach, you guys have forced a turnover in your last 7 games. How important has it been for you guys to win the turnover margin over the course of the season?
It's everything. It's everything. When we win the turnover margin, we usually win a game. And you look at the statistics just nationally and throughout the course of football history, it's something we make a huge emphasis on. Our guys have been able to capitalize on it this year. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate your time.